Weapons. Currently we have blades, arrows and books. I wonder what else could there be. Maybe a bullet, knuckles, or maybe a stick? Since we are closing in on the third chapter of our journey, I was wondering, when are we getting a new weapon type? When the angel on the left side said that, the devil on the other side asked me, how practical would that be? Is Hoyoverse willing to take a risk and deliver something new to the table? Or would it be practical to stick to the current weapon classes and not take a risk? From a business standpoint, that is. Hi, I'm Megaman, and this is a piece of my madness. Don't expect this to be a run-of-the-mill theory, because today we are going to try and tap into the Genshin writer's mind. Of course, through my craziness, that is. So expect weird ideas to fly across nowhere in this video. Yeah, I think I should have told you what we are doing today instead of nonsense I babbled on earlier. Alright, we are looking into 5 weapon classes I think might have a chance of being added to the game later on. I will get into the details of why I think they might work and also will counter-argue myself so we all learn something new. Let's call it self-brainstorming. You guys can also participate by commenting down a weapon you think might have the potential of being added. Give reasons why you think that might work. And also don't forget to think about how it might not work also. And be a little original. I don't want to hear the same old Scythes and Gauntlets too much. Look into some D&D weapon classes or something. First, we have to understand what are the benefits Hoyoverse might get out of releasing a new weapon. Then we have to look into what the player's response might be. Cause let's be real, Hoyoverse is a business that deals with a big audience. Overly sensitive audience, that is. If I were the one making decisions up there, I would have known that putting out a new weapon in my game will build a lot of hype around it. From the day it was even slightly announced, everybody will start talking about it. Let's face it, everyone has an opinion on everything unless you are enlightened. Which I don't think one of you are. Different opinions will cause friction in the community. And what happens when there's too much friction? Heat. People will question playstyles, animations, weapon designs, and possible bugs and defects. I don't know about you, but I think both sides. Hype carries two sides. People will be excited to see something new, but if it's not to their liking, even though I prefer it, players will not use that weapon class. If it's not better than the current ones, what's the point in using something new? The game currently doesn't force you to spend a dime to clear anything, so there's no reason to try something new. The only redemption is that it will give a new gameplay experience. Either way, there will always be backlash from some groups of people. You are aware how childish the Genshin community can be, right? God, I am hoping my viewers are different from those idiots on Twitter. Don't follow me on Twitter. I comment on stuff and like fan art there. We have to accept the reality that we can never satisfy everyone, which Genshin is trying to do really hard, but it has its own downsides. Now you see, don't you? There is a risk factor to every step the devs take, and something game-breaking like a new weapon class will obviously have risks. I don't know what the devs will do, but I think it would be cool to have at least 2 new weapons. Enough rambling. Let's get on with the good shit. Gauntlets. Let's get the obvious one out of the way first. By now all of you have seen this midget, right? She's called Yansan. Just go to the low preview channel in Genshin Discord. All the trivial trailer characters are named there. Yansan here is in a stance that looks like she's powering up or focusing her chi. Chi is basically like mana for martial artists specifically. The person who uses chi usually uses the power of yin and yang to create friction in their body and use that power to punch harder. Also, healing and bunch of other stuff are also included. Chi in itself is the energy that makes everything according to traditional Chinese practices. Let's not make this too complicated. Most of the time, chi is used in hand-to-hand combat. Sometimes sword wielders also use chi, but mostly they use a different type of power called sword intent. That's not important here. Chi is mostly used by monk class fighters. Therefore, Gauntlets are my first addition. Skills will most likely be similar to how the Blade class characters use their element. Auto attacks will be physical and elemental skill will punch with an elemental infusion with a lot shorter cooldown probably. Burst will give a few seconds of continuous elemental infusion. The only downside to this class I could think of is that they will be very close range single target fighters with fast, strong attacks like Child but much closer and no AoE. Hope to whatever god you worship, Yansan is not another Sayo. And also there is this guy. Scythe. And this is the other obvious kind of one. All the Honkai games have this, so people believe this might also be added to the game at some point. Although scythes are the weapon of choice of god of death in media, it was actually an agricultural tool used long time ago to cut hay, rice and whatnot. To be honest, I am doubting this weapon. I don't think there is a region or a character type that would specialize in using scythes. In Teyvat, that is. My closest bet is Fontaine with its connection to European culture. It suits the usual goth girl with a scythe look. Goth culture originated in UK, not Japan, for those who are not aware. But Fontaine sounds like it's in the industrial era, which I don't think scythes did much work. If they are going for the Jack the Ripper vibe, sure, have it your way. Or some other civilization from the abyss or the other side of the world. It's a concept I built in one of my past theories. If we stretch a bit, scythes can also be classified as similar to axes or hammers, right? If so, we already have an electro hammer dude from Vertugi. So there is potential. The playstyle will be similar to Eula's playstyle with a lot more spinning around. With an elemental slash as elemental skill and an attack and movement speed boost with an elemental infusion for burst. So I include scythe or perpendicular blade on a stick to the potential list. And now would be a great time to ask you to subscribe and like the video, or the next weapon on this list might haunt you forever. Might, not will, for legal reasons.
Bang, 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 bang.
This is also self-explanatory. 3 of the 5 Itui's skirmishers use this weapon. Cryo and Hydro Gunners already exist, but I am leaning more towards the Pyroslinger type rifles or dual-wielding pistols. Don't you think it's cool to see a magical girl looking character flying across the room shooting bullets everywhere? This is more of a Sneznaya or Fontaine type weapon, but since I already assigned sights to Fontaine and Fatui already shown they have this weapon, Sneznaya it is. Since Child is the only character who dual wields a weapon, adding a pistol dual wielding class might be cool. Honkai also has a ton of those like scythes. But if we take reality into picture, the technological era Teyvat's 2 tech giants are in plays a big part in the existence of dual wielding. If that's not an issue, we can accept the old fancy double barrel pistol design as a new weapon. Skills are the ones that gave me trouble coming up with. Auto attacks and charge attacks can be explained by being similar to catalyst uses. Bullets made out of pure elemental magic shot individually by each pistol and a more focused shot with both guns. Then, what would be the skill? Burst can be brushed off as being said as a bigger blast. I guess if you give the character some extra tool or a weapon, like a elemental infused grenade, I don't know. Let me know a good skill in the comments. Another problem is plunging attacks. Will it be similar to archers? Otherwise, I actually can't think of any. And there is this mismatching with Lordil too. Shillelagh! Magic Staff. This one is straight out of the dungeon. Dungeons and Dragons to be more precise. The magic staff looking thing is actually a club imbued with magic that can kick ass like nobody's business. It's a weapon that can both be used as a caster type weapon like a catalyst and a physical weapon like a blade. It's essentially a catalyst character hitting with their book but a wooden club instead of the book. This is how the weapon works. Usually, a caster is away from the target and casts their spells. Most of the time, casters that have connections with nature like wood elves use this weapon. One positive over normal magical staff I see is that there is no risk of getting the staff damaged. What did you expect? It's a wooden club probably taken out of some special tree that also has its strength boosted by magic. When in close range situations, they can roll a d8 die and bonk your enemy. I am a D&D fan but never actually played, so if you are a dungeon master or a huge D&D nerd, leave a comment. I am interested in knowing your opinion. Since Sumeru, the place where the most magic is cast and researched, is coming up next, I wanna see this weapon in action. Although it has the least chance out of all the weapons I came up with. And then there is this guy too, the Fatui Geochanter. They are not like mages or maidens who uses elemental magic using catalyst type weapons. They use a magical staff to buff and protect their other skirmishers, and also throw rocks like Ningua. And then there are also the Summatrals, which has the most similarity with the Shillelagh when you get close and cast spells when you keep distance. Playstyle will most likely be auto attacks and slow physical but can pack a punch like a claymore. Elemental skill will cast a long range attack like a catalyst, and the burst will be a Megumin's explosion, a nuke type burst or healing or a buff. Miss timing. Dendro is most likely coming in 2 more patches, and with it, the dev team might be busy with that to focus on a weapon that matches the region, unless they bring it back at a later time. And the low HP and def stats that comes with being a chanter mixed with close combat is calling for trouble, if you don't have Zhongli shield, that is. If this comes to the game, at least the male characters will have a slight chance of getting a caster type troll in Genshin. I'm not sure if I want to add fans or daggers. Let's go with daggers. Fans sound a bit too exotic to Genshin. It's also another self-explanatory weapon. Child's melee stance but permanent. Very fast attacks, quick movements, and maybe with the ability to weave combos even with sprinting like Ito's burst. But with less firepower to balance the speed. It gives more satisfaction in playing, like how Child's melee stance is so satisfying to play and feel. The character type could be something like a thief or an assassin class. Also maybe inspired by Fate's Jack the Ripper, originated in Fontaine. Fontaine looks like it's in industrial era, where class discrimination and child labor were a huge problem. This might have forced some people into thief-like fighting classes. Skills will mostly be the same as usual blade weapons. Auto attacks are physical, and elemental skill infusions for a few seconds when elemental skill is hit, or maybe a ranged elemental infused knife throw. The burst should be something less flashy since I'm going with the whole assassin trope here. So maybe a backstab that causes bleed like status. And why should they add a weapon class like this? Most characters we have come from fairly good backgrounds, meaning fewer thieves and assassins get visions to begin with. No visions plus not an Archon equals not playable. At least that's how the pattern shows us. That's all I got for you today. I think you can guess why I picked some of this. It's all about that satisfaction when you play a character. And total elemental infusion. That's why Child is still my #1 favorite character. This was by far one of the more fun projects to work on. So hope you enjoyed the video. Also, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and smash that like button. Hope you guys agree with my choices. If you have better ideas, leave a comment and please leave your reasoning. Maybe I'll give a score out of 10 on the possibility according to my analysis. Anyway, this is just a theory in a random dude's head on the internet. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, let your imagination run wild.